I have the high ground!
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Don't try it!
Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. Today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite Star Wars games as a kid, other than Battlefront of course, as the Revenge of the Sith game that was released together with the movie. A lot of you have probably already played it, but if you haven't, don't worry, I will tell you all about it in this video, as I wanted to talk about some of my favorite memories about it, as well as some interesting information I found out about the game just now actually. So if you're new on the channel, make sure to subscribe for all things Star Wars gaming news and discussion. So when this game was released, which was May 4th, 2005, I was only 10 years old. So my memories of this is pretty vague, or my memories of the actual game are strong and all the good memories I have from it, but I don't really remember much about its actual release, if I got it on release day or not, which I probably didn't, and same thing goes for the movie. I remember the Revenge of the Sith being something that I didn't watch initially at release, and a lot of people told me it was a very dark movie for a 10-year-old to watch and so on, but I did end up watching it and really loved the movie, and it's still to this day my favorite Star Wars movie. But back then I wasn't this huge Star Wars fan who watched everything on release day and had all the games and collectibles and everything like that, but that's something that came when I was older. So again, I don't remember too much about the release of this game, how quickly I got it and so on. But something I did find out when I was researching a bit for this video is that the game was released on May 4th, but the movie wasn't released until May 19th, roughly 2 weeks after the game. And that's something I wanted to talk a little bit about in this video, because it's not too uncommon to release a game before a movie. I mean, Battlefront 1 was released before The Force Awakens and Battlefront 2 before The Last Jedi. And yes, it did contain a couple of things like the Battle of Jakku and Crate, but it didn't really spoil anything from the movie, did it? It had a location and some characters, but nothing for the story. It didn't spoil anything more than the trailers did, and even the Agent Kloss map that was released for The Rise of Skywalker wasn't actually released until the movie was out, even though it didn't contain any spoilers. So they're very careful about not spoiling stuff when they're releasing a game prior to a movie, but that doesn't seem like it's the case here, as the Revenge of the Sith game is actually a game that follows along the movie pretty accurately, or maybe not accurately, but it does follow the major plot events of the movie, and it does also include movie footage in between some of these fights, which is also something I loved as a kid, just playing through the game multiple times just to see those maybe 10 or 15 minutes of movie footage was totally worth it, combined with a really good game of course. It's just a shame that this game wasn't remastered for the PlayStation 4 or released on the PC, which means it's pretty tricky to play the game right now. It was released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox originally, and I played on the Xbox myself, and there was actually a couple of handheld versions to the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS released as well, but I never had a chance to play those versions. So how did this game actually play out? Well, you play as either Anakin or Obi-Wan throughout the entire game's main story. And you start off on Grievous' flagship, and you get to fight through various enemies, bus droids, droidicus, flying droids, and there's actually a bunch of various droids and enemies introduced just for this game that I don't think are canon right now, well, since the game isn't canon and they were only present in this game. And after each part of the game or level, you get a bunch of experience points that you can use to upgrade your force powers or combat skills, such as force heal, push, grasp, stun and throw, or your jump attacks, area attacks, dash attacks, and much more. And this is something that I thoroughly enjoy, just playing through this story multiple times over and over, and then maybe one time I would use all my experience points on just the heal or just the push, and the next time I might only go for the combat skills and go for some really badass combos. So I personally thought that this game had a lot of replayability. Obviously the story is going to be the same, but being able to choose how you want your character to play and which abilities you want to upgrade still made it feel worth playing the game over and over. So just like in the movie, when you fought your way through Grievous' flagship, you get to fight Dooku, and like in the movie, you kill him. You get to see a little snippet both before and after the fight from the movie, but when you actually kill him in the game, you stab him through the chest. And this, along with all the other battles I'm going to talk about, it makes me think, didn't it spoil a lot of the movie? Did they actually release this 2 weeks before the movie was out, and it contained all the major plot points? It told you who killed who doesn't survive, who survives, and even had some clips from the movie. Maybe the information I'm finding on Wikipedia and on all over the web is not correct, but I think release dates is something that usually tends to be pretty accurate. But that really makes me think, how did they not care about spoilers for movies the same way they do now 15 years ago. And if there are any of you who either have better memory than myself or who are a bit older, please let me know what your experience was with the release of this game and how the spoilers were dealt with. Because when you're down on Grievous' flagship and you fought Dooku, you go over to Obi-Wan on Utapau, where you fight through a bunch of droids, turrets, and random enemies, and eventually you obviously fight Grievous, and you also kill him with a stab in the chest. So, like in the movie, Obi-Wan kills Grievous. And the next part you get to is actually Anakin confronting Mace Windu, and this does not at all play out like in the movie. Instead of just slicing off the arms and Palpatine throwing it out a window, you have a really lengthy fight between Anakin and Windu, and they have some good conversation actually about, obviously, how Anakin thinks it's wrong to kill a politician, Windu thinks it's too dangerous to be kept alive, and they keep fighting in Palpatine's room, below his window, and eventually it's not actually Palpatine who kills him, but you just stab him through the chest. Again, there's something about stabbing people in the chest in this game, and then throw him out of the window, and suddenly you're Darth Vader. And following along to this, you get to play Anakin killing all the Jedi at the Jedi Temple with the clones on your side and basically executing Order 66. So you get to fight a bunch of Jedi here, some new enemies, and also 2 Jedi that I don't think are canon, which is Serra Keto and her master Sindralig, both of which you kill, and Serra for once actually dies from a pillar, versus Sindralig, guess what, gets stabbed in the stomach. And then after that you move back to Utapau and you get to flee from the clones post Order 66 with Obi-Wan. And then Anakin heads to Mustafar to kill the Separatist leaders, but it's not as easy as in the movie, but he gets to fight through a bunch of different enemies such as the Nemoidian guards, and the last Separatist leader, Newt Gunray, doesn't go down as fast as he does in the movie, but he actually heads over to his ship and you have to fight the ship, dodge the projectiles and so on. And now we're getting to the end of the movie here, and we get to play as Obi-Wan and Yoda, who has to retake the Jedi Temple and reprogram the message for the surviving Jedi. And eventually we get the Anakin versus Obi-Wan battle on Mustafar, which is a pretty lengthy duel that if you win as Obi-Wan ends like in the movie. Obi-Wan takes the saber, Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and you get to see Anakin and Palpatine oversee the construction of the Death Star. But here's where it gets interesting, because there's actually an alternate ending where you get to play as Anakin instead, and if you beat Obi-Wan, you actually kill him with a stab through his chest, and then when you get back to Palpatine, you get your new red lightsaber, but you actually end up killing Palpatine, saying that no, the galaxy is now mine. And then the game is over. So I really thought that was a fun little twist at the end, where you can have both endings, either where Anakin or Obi-Wan wins, and imagine how the entire universe would have panned out if Anakin won that battle instead. I don't think Anakin would have killed Palpatine realistically, but I still thought that was a pretty nice ending. And there were also some co-op missions as well as a duel mode in this game, where you get to play a bunch of more characters. But for me personally, what I had the most fun with was definitely just playing the story over and over and trying different ability upgrades. But if you were playing with friends, obviously the duel mode was really fun. But seeing how this game basically spoils the entire movie, it had me really curious why it was released 2 weeks before the movie, and if people just didn't care much about spoilers back then. I mean, just imagine if before The Force Awakens, 2 weeks before, Battlefront 1 had a campaign part where you killed Han Solo as Kylo Ren. I mean, people would be furious about that, right? I just remember how some idiots were trying to spoil that Han died through like their profile pictures or just using it on social media and so on. So a game being released 2 weeks and officially spoiling everything, that's quite interesting to me. I might be missing something here that explains all of this, but from everywhere I looked, it does look like the game was released 2 weeks before the movie, and I really wish my memory was better so I could actually remember this myself, because again, I did play this a lot as a kid, but I think I probably watched the movie first before I got the game. So for me, it was more about just getting to see that movie footage over and over, having some fun gameplay obviously, and just enjoying the game. But if there are any of you who remember the release of this game and the Revenge of the Sith, please let me know in the comments below, as I am very curious to hear your thoughts. But that brings this video to an end. If there are any other topics like this one you want me to discuss, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.